Hello, good morning, and welcome to After GMS. Looks like we just popped up live here on the WFMY News 2 Facebook page, so we'll let you have a few seconds to come on in and join us. It is Tuesday, July 5th. I'm Megan Maleras with meteorologist Ed Matthews. Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July holiday weekend. The weather was hot, but cooperated for fireworks last night.
Yeah, it really did. Very little in the way of rain yesterday, but we do have chances today and really for the next several days to come. It's a beautiful morning, some extra clouds. So we take a look over Burlington this morning, a gentle breeze causing the flags to move there just a little bit. Temperature is 74, but look at the dew point. There's a lot of water vapor in the air. So not only is it warm, but it's a little sticky out there this morning as well. Let's take a look at our computer modeling. We begin at midday. I think things are going to be quiet around the lunch hour, but we put it in motion and we move through the afternoon and into the evening hours. Look at this. We have some scattered showers that I think will initially develop up over West Virginia and western Pennsylvania, and they'll track south through Virginia, reaching our part of the Piedmont around 4 or 5 p.m., and then they'll progress on to the south and move south of the Triad probably around 7 or 8 p.m. So I think between about 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. we run the risk of some heavy downpours and maybe some damaging winds associated with a few of these storms scattered about. We are in the risk area for severe weather. Along the Virginia border, the yellow area is a slight risk, level 2, and the rest of our viewing area south of that is in the marginal risk for severe storms. And again, the primary threat would be damaging winds, but also with all the water vapor in the atmosphere, these storms have an opportunity to produce some locally heavy downpours. About a 40% chance of those for the afternoon and evening. Highs will reach around 90, and that's going to be the going forecast really for the next several days. We could see once again maybe a few strong storms Wednesday afternoon and again on Thursday. Temperatures for highs will be in the low and even mid-90s, so a lot of heat energy there to get these storms fired up. We'll bump it up even more to a 50% chance of showers and storms for Friday and Saturday. Obviously, we don't want any storms, but it would be nice to get some very quiet scattered showers on parched landscape across the Piedmont with the very dry conditions. Has your grass turned brown yet due to the lack of rain? Maybe you'll get lucky and get some over the next few days, and then maybe a little less humid and slightly cooler by Sunday and early next week.
Yeah, grass is brown. My geraniums are shriveling a little bit. Our tomato plants are having a hard time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a really tough week and looks like we're a little bit above average. We're asking you here on our feed, how are you planning to beat the heat this week? Are you staying inside, going to a pool? Also, are you ready for fall? I've heard that's the general consensus. Ed, I love summer, a summer person, but honestly this year I'm ready for fall. It's been too hot. It
got hot really early.
Yeah.
I mean, in the month of May, we started having, 90-degree heat here in the Piedmont. I think fall is probably my favorite time of the year, the favorite season. After we have all the heat and humidity, it's nice to start getting that drier and more refreshing air into the Piedmont. And as far as taking care of the heat, I stay out of it the best I can and just kind of hang out in the condo with the air condition. Not turned so high, but the air in your house is always drier. And that makes a big difference this time of year.
It does, certainly. We're seeing some comments here come in from Shanika, who said very humid this morning. A little breeze is good, but still humid. I agree. Debbie said it felt like she was melting when she stepped outside early this morning. She takes care of some feral cats, so she spends a lot of time outside with them. Shanika said fall is her favorite season of the year, but Bobby agrees. It's just way too hot already for this early in the morning. We heard from Bobby, who also said, I'm drinking plenty of fluids, water, and Gatorade, working outside. He agrees, ready for fall. Nadine is so, with 5 O's, over this heat.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
It's just because it's above average for an extended period of time. It gets to you.
And if you look at the climate data, the normal highs and normal lows, statistically, we're in the hottest time of the summer right now.
July,
Our normal high is 89. and our normal low is 69, and that's as high as those normals go before they start slowly moving down. But for much of this month, we're going to see, statistically, climatologically speaking, the hottest time of the year, and sometimes that coincides with Mother Nature, that when we have, you know, the hot stuff as well. But those numbers will start going down as we move into later August and on into September. We'll start to get some little pieces of drier air in here.
So July is our hottest month, because I know sometimes August can be just as
it can, but you know, just looking at the climate normals, if you just looked at the normal, when's triad weather ever normal, right?
True.
You know, if you just look at the statistics, the hottest time of the year is July, but as we well know, June, July, August, and sometimes in September. And I remember a few years ago, we had 90-degree heat into October.
Yeah,
I hope that doesn't happen this year.
Yeah, well, neither does Joanne, because she said she's a fall person to celebrate her 92nd birthday in September. She wants a nice forecast for that. September can be tricky too. You can have those extended summers where it's really hot in September.
Indian summer,
Indian summer as it's called, or it's just feels nice by then. It just really depends on the year. Melody tries to stay out of the heat as much as she can, and also cannot wait until fall. You know, the older I get, the less tolerant I think I am to heat. And just the sun. You know, I used to lay out at the pool all the time. The more sun, the better, honestly. And now I try to protect my skin from the sun. I try to protect my kids. They always have a hat on, long sleeve sun shirts at the pool. Just, it's too intense.
It is. And yeah, that intense heat can cause skin problems. So smart idea to keep yourself and the kids out of that blazing heat in the summer.
And then one more note before we move on. Melody said these strong storms have her nervous. You said there's just a potential for some strong storms, as there is really any time it gets this warm.
You know, convert your fear over to knowledge, and you won't be as fearful. Have a designated place in your house if severe weather approaches. Stay tuned to WFMY whenever watches or warnings are issued. We get that out on our WFMY News 2 app. If she happens to have, you know, a smartphone, she can download that app and see the radar and the watches and warnings right in the palm of her hand. But have a designated place, know where to go in your house if threatening weather approaches your neighborhood, and just be safe. It's okay to be a little frightened and certainly concerned, but translate that into knowledge and knowing what to do in a moment's notice.
Awareness is key. It can save lives, and it has before. All right, this is a great first conversation. Let's take a look at our headlines, and then we'll have another one coming up we'd like you to weigh in on. First, we'll start with this. Unfortunately, Greensboro police are investigating an early morning shooting. It happened just before 1 on South Elm Eugene Street. Police found one person with serious injuries from a gunshot wound, and that person is at the hospital now. No word on his or her condition, but if you know anything, call Crime Stoppers. Remember, you can leave an anonymous tip. We're learning more about the night Winston-Salem police responded to the target on Haynes Mall Boulevard last week. Investigators say a group called Dads Against Predators lured a man to the store through a social media app. They say the group confronted the man, and the man fired his gun, hitting one of the group members in the leg, all while shoppers were in the store. Right now, police say they are not searching for the 3 men involved, and no charges have been filed. But still, police caution against what they call vigilante behavior. Troops with the 82nd Airborne Division had a beautiful homecoming. They returned to Fort Bragg just in time to celebrate the 4th of July with their families. 230 troops made the return from Poland, the second group to return after being deployed to Poland 5 months ago when Russia invaded Ukraine. Tickets for the Greensboro Grasshoppers game last night were sold out before the game even started. Look at that packed house. It was the only place in town to catch fireworks for the 4th of July, the day of at least. 8,500 people bought tickets to watch the game and the show. Thousands of people were in downtown Greensboro preceding that event for the Fun 4th Street Festival. Many people walked the roads of Fun 4th before heading to the Hoppers game. Crowds also gave a big boom to businesses. WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller has more on the impact.
Well, this was the first festival in 2 years to draw out a pre-pandemic crowd. And businesses I spoke with here along South Elm Street say it was good for business. The vendors, family-friendly games, and live music brought thousands out for the block party. The American-themed extravaganza gave businesses a spirit of hope that the celebration would bring them new sales and more exposure. Many of the downtown businesses are locally and family-owned. They tell me it's not easy being a business owner at this time. The manager at Pizzeria L'Italiano says they've had to add delivery options to reach folks who can't make it downtown.
It's good for the city and good for the businesses around here because it gives people a chance to come out with all that's been going on for the last few years with the pandemic and the different conflicts going on.
The Green Bean Coffee Shop says its loyal customer base has helped them through the past few years and recent inflation.
We've got a great group of regulars that have kind of kept us around. You know, Green Bean's been here for a long time, but it's all about the regular people. You know, we see them downtown coming around. A lot of people live here, believe it or not, so we see them pretty frequently.
And organizers for the Fun Fourth Festival say they usually see nearly 100,000 people come out to celebrate. They are still crunching the numbers for this year. But the sold-out Grasshoppers game for the fireworks show is a good sign that they saw the crowds that they expected.
So there was a lot to do at home this weekend, clearly. But a lot of people took to the skies to travel for the first time in probably 2 years, at least for the 4th of July weekend. So we're asking you, what price would it take for you to give up your seat on an airplane? Here's why we're asking. A passenger with a ticket on an oversold Delta flight said he and other passengers were offered $10,000 to give up their seats and travel at a later date. We asked you if you would take $10,000. Kathy said she would. She sees more vacations in her future. Jose said $10,000, good enough for me. Where's the car rental counter? Dwight said, give me $10,000. You can have my seat and my luggage. Good point, Dwight. You know, I think in general, at first glance, $10,000 is a ton of money. I mean, who would not accept that? But then you think about how chaotic air travel is these days. It's so hard to get anywhere you need to be on time. Despite the money you've already paid for the flight, it's always a headache. It seems like in one way or another, you're dealing with these long lines at airports, you're dealing with cancellations and delays, short staffing that the airlines are dealing with. It's such a hassle that honestly, I can see why some people would turn this down. They just want to get home.
Yeah.
The plane is in the gate. They want to get on and they want to get home.
Yeah. The example I gave the last time I flew was when I went to Florida in early June. On my way back to Greensboro from Florida, my connection from Atlanta to Greensboro was oversold, and they were looking for 6 people. Six people.
Wow.
Boy, they oversold that flight, and they were looking for 6 people to give up their seats to fly at a later date, or a voucher, I should say.
Right.
You know, it was a $300 voucher, and I thought long and hard about it. But I was really ready to get home.
Yeah.
I really was. Now, my question about the 10 grand, which is an incredible amount of money to get somebody to change their flight numbers. Maybe that's the reason they charge us an arm and a leg for flying, because they're paying off these people $10,000.
They shouldn't overbook then by that much.
I know. Yeah, they should. But airlines do that.
They do.
Really do
They
overbook.
do, all the time.
And sometimes it can get them in trouble. My question is, 10 grand's incredible, and I'd go for it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
But when can I get another flight to get home?
Exactly.
That's the key. If it's later that day, oh boy, I'd take the $10,000. If it's a few days down the road, I might still take the $10,000.
Yeah.
But when I'm ready, I love my vacation. I love to get there, but I also love to come home and get back to the normal routine. So on this particular situation in Atlanta, I was ready to get back to good old home Greensboro.
Yeah, I mean, you got to consider too, how many days are you going to potentially be in a hotel if you miss that flight? How many days are you going to be missing from work? Is your employer going to be happy about that?
Well, now that's the important thing.
I know, right?
Yeah, it's like, Hey, boss,
mean,
I'm not going to be at work for the next 2 or 3 days.
But $10,000, I'd probably do whatever it took, even if I had
Yeah.
the kids with me at that point, to take that money and run with it.
That's a lot of money.
Even $1,000, I think I'd think about it. But again,
Yeah.
with the kids and like them being a little impatient and not being as used to travel as I am, I think it would be really difficult to not get on that plane if it's right there.
It didn't move me,
Yeah.
in June, $300. I thought, boy, that sounds good. That might buy me a fourth of a ticket, back to Florida someday with all the, price hikes that that we're dealing with and stuff like that. But I didn't take it this time. We'll see what happens next time.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even cash though. These offers sometimes, as you said, are vouchers.
A voucher, and this was.
Yeah, and sometimes they are, let's see, what else do they give? Gift cards sometimes, and you can choose the gift card. So not always as sweet as $10,000 cash. So we
That's
asked,
sweet.
yeah, that's pretty sweet. We asked you here on our Facebook feed if you would give up your flight or what it would take for you to give up your flight. Bobby said he definitely, in all caps, would give up his flight for 10 grand. Let's see, we also heard from a few other people. LeVar said 10,000, he'd rent a car and drive home with that 10,000 too. Yeah,
You
even
buy
with
a car to go home.
I don't know about that with inflation, but yes. Let's see, we heard, these comments are kind of scattered here. Bobby said it would also take a large amount of money or an extreme emergency, but again, for $10,000, he would do it. Melody's too afraid to fly. She's not a fan of heights, so probably would prefer to drive as well. And yeah, so this is a great conversation. Obviously, a lot of people feel one way or another about it, but $10,000, pretty hard to turn down.
That's a lot of money for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's send us out the door with a final check of our forecast. Hot, humid.
Yeah, there you go. Same old story. It just sounds like a broken record. I wish I could come in here and say something more pleasant like cooler, drier, less humid air, but not for a while anyway. We'll be on the lookout for maybe a few strong or severe storms this afternoon and evening, between about 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. this evening. Maybe some damaging winds. We couldn't rule that out. Not a big severe weather outbreak, but also some heavy downpours possible. Will reach a high around 90. And each afternoon, at least through Thursday, that's how far out the severe weather outlook goes. And each afternoon through Thursday, we are in the slight risk area for a few strong or severe storms because of the heat. I mean, temperatures tomorrow and Thursday will make it into the low and mid 90s. 90 on Friday with some storms, about a 50% chance for Friday and Saturday. And then we're hoping that a cold front will wiggle its way across the area, and by later Sunday and into early next week, maybe a little cooler and maybe getting just a little taste of drier air into the Piedmont. It's real hard to get drier and cooler air into the Piedmont in July, so we'll keep an eye on that and see if it happens by early next week.
All right, going to be a really toasty day, so plan accordingly. Of course, you want to have plenty of water and dress very coolly today.
Oh, yes.
Thanks so much for joining us here on After GMS. We appreciate your time and commentary every morning. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Get out there and get to it.